Okay, so today we are going to be simplifying radical expressions. It's 11-1. All right, in the first example it says simplify a radical expression. So we have 6x plus 12 is equal to x plus 2. And I look at the 6x plus 12 and ask myself, is there something they have in common? And I see they have a 6. So if I pull a 6 out, I have 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. At the bottom, I have x plus 2. These two quantities can be canceled because they both create a 1. So 1 times 6 is 6. Okay, let's look at the next one. At the bottom, letter A here, we have 15 over 25, and they have b over b squared. So if I look at 15 over 25 first, we're going to look at that as a separate problem. I can divide both top and bottom by a 5, so I get 3 over 5. Then I have a b at the top and two b's at the bottom. These both cancel out, and I end up with 3 over 5b. And that's my answer. 3 over 5b. Okay, now I'm going to erase that work that I just did there. Now I'm going to look at letter B. And letter B, I have 12 c to the second, and then I have 3 c plus 6. Okay, nothing at the top to take out, so I'm going to keep my 12 c to the second at the top here. But at the bottom, do 3x and 6 have something in common? They both have a 3. So I have c plus 2. Okay, now, the c's can't cancel because this is a quantity. That c plus 2 has to stay together, so I cannot cancel the c, but I can work with the 12 over 3. 12 over 3 is 4. At the top I have a c, and the bottom I have my c plus 2. And that's all I can do because this c plus 2 is a quantity. It cannot be separated. The only way we can separate that is if we could cancel a c plus 2, and we can't. So my answer, I'm going to erase my work, that goes in is 4, c at the top, where's my pen, 4c over c plus 2. That's my answer for that one. Okay, the next one. I look and I see I have 4m minus 2 and I have 2m minus 1. Okay, so now I look, is there anything at the top that they have in common? They both have a 2, so I can take a 2 out and I get 2m minus 1. That's my top. I factored it. At the bottom, I keep my m minus 1. Now these are both quantities. These quantities can cancel. Not the m's alone, but the whole thing. The whole thing cancels. And so what I have left is just the 2. I'm going to erase my work here. And the last one, again, I'm looking for what they have in common. Is there anything that the top has in common? I think it has a 4, because 4 times 5, and then plus 4 times t is 4t. And now at the bottom, I have t plus 5. Again, this is a quantity, it stays together. Can I rewrite the top as a t plus 5? And I can. So these two can cancel, and what I have left is a 4. Okay, so that is example 1. Okay, now example 2, we're going to simplify a radical expression. I look at the top and I have 2x minus 12, and then I have x squared minus 7x plus 6. Okay, we're going to use some things that we've learned in the past chapters for this. First of all, I look at the top and say, okay, is there anything in common between the 12, or the 2, and the 12? And there's a 2, so I'm going to make this x minus 6. At the bottom, I'm going to factor. I'm going to do my x. 1 times 6 is 6. Add together to give me a negative 7. Let's see, I know they're both going to be negative, because negative and negative is a positive. And I'm going to multiply it together to give me a positive 6, but add together to give me a negative 7, so 6 and a negative 1. So at the bottom I have x minus 6 and x minus 1. Okay, at this point, can I cancel some quantities? I can cancel this quantity and this quantity, and I get 2 over x minus 1. And that is my answer. Okay, let's go ahead down and do some practice problems at the bottom here. Okay, so now my next one is 3x plus 12. Is there anything that these have in common? They have a 3. I can take a 3 out and make it x plus 4 at the top. At the bottom, I need to factor because I need to see if there's anything that I can have in common. So 1 times negative 20 is negative 20. Add together to give me negative 1. 1's positive and 1's negative. So it's going to be negative 4, positive 3. So I have yeah, that's right. Okay, so now I've got x plus 3 and x minus 4. Okay, I did something with my math over here. What did I do wrong? What I did was, oh, where did it go? Hold on. Okay, so I said what I did wrong. I knew I did something wrong. What I did wrong was I multiplied, I got a 12. I need to get a 20. So this needs to be a positive 4. This needs to be a negative 5. There we go. This needs to be a positive 4. And this one needs to be a negative 5. I discovered that because what we're doing is we're trying to simplify, and I knew there wasn't going to be anything that I could cancel. But now that I did my math right, I can cancel those too. And my answer is 3 at the top alone, and it's going to be x minus 5. And that's the answer for A. Okay, letter B. I'm going to go ahead and erase my work over here, and I will be more careful as I do my math. Okay, at the top, what do they have in common? They both have a 2, so I'm going to take a 2 out, and I have z minus 1. That's a z. I'll put a little here up, put a little line here, and make this a parentheses. At the bottom, we'll do our x again. This time, hopefully, I'll do the math right. Positive 3, negative 4. I know they're both going to be negative, and one's going to be 3, and one's going to be negative 1. So I have z minus 3, and then a z minus 1. Okay, at this point, I can cancel those two quantities, and for my answer, I have 2z minus 3. And that's my answer for this one. Okay, erase my work here. Now let's look at the next one. We have 8a plus 16. So I look at this one, I said, okay, they have an 8 in common. I'm going to take that out. I've got a plus 2. And then I'm going to factor. Okay, and when I factor this one, it looks like I'm going to have to use the box. So I'm going to do my x, positive 4, and a 5. And two numbers that multiply together to give me 4, but add together to give me 5. So they're both positive, so it's going to be 4 and 1. Put my variable with it. To my box. So we're going back and we're using our factoring. I think it was from chapter 8. Remember, this is our first term right here. This is our last term here, and these two go wherever you want to put them. So I have 1, I have 2a, I have an a and a 2. This becomes plus, and this becomes plus. So at the bottom I have 2a plus 1, parentheses, a plus 2. And now we can cancel to simplify. And so my answer is, and I'm going to draw a little arrow, is 8 2a plus 1. That's the answer for letter C, right here. Alright, I have one more to go. It looks like this next one we have to do is we have to factor both the top and the bottom to see if there's anything there that we can cancel. Okay, so at the top, we're going to factor, and we have a -6 and a -1. So one's negative, one's positive. Looks like it's going to be -3, +2. That gives me 6. So I've got C minus 3, and then C plus 2. Again, do we have to do the box on this one? We don't, because the coefficient is 1. So we're going to do another x over here. Again, we won't have to use the box. So multiply together give me 6, add together give me 5. They're both positive, so it's going to be 3 and 2. So we have C plus 3, and then we have C plus 2. And we can cancel these two quantities, and my answer, and we'll use the arrow here, it's going to be C minus 3 over C plus 3. And that's the answer for that one. Okay. Next one. Okay, so then the next example is example 3, but before that, let's read the little notes that I have up here. It says the numerator and the denominator of x minus 3 over 3 minus x are opposites. So as you can see, they're opposites here. They're opposite of each other. Say, to simplify the expression, you can factor a -1 from 3 minus x, and you're going to get -3 plus x, which you can rewrite as -x plus 3. So if we just change the order between this and this, we get that. And now at the top we have our x plus 3, and at the bottom we have our x plus 3. These two now can cancel, and you'll end up with 1 over -1, which is -1. Okay, because we're going to use that when we factor recognizing opposites. Okay, so at the top, example 3. First of all, looking at the top, what do they have in common? They have a 5. So I'm going to take that out, and I have -3. At the bottom, hopefully you remember your special cases. This is a difference of squares. We can change this to a 3 squared, and this to an x squared, and we have 3 plus x, and we have 3 minus x. Okay, but we just talked about these are opposites. So in order to cancel these, I need to factor out a -1 from this one. So if I factor out a -1 from here, I can change this to look like that, but I keep my -1, but this is now no longer written here, it's here. So these two can cancel. What I have left is I have a -5 over x plus 3, and I just rewrote this in the other order. So that might be my answer for example 5. So we're going to see if we can recognize some opposites for the next few. Okay, now if we look at letter A, I see that that is an opposite because I have x minus 4 and 4 minus x. So what did it tell me to do? It told me to factor out a -1 from the bottom, so I have -1, and I rewrite this as x minus 4. and at the top I had my x minus 4. Remember, these are quantities, so the quantity cancels. I have a 1 at the top, so negative 1 over negative 1 is, or positive 1 over negative 1 is a negative 1. So that's my answer here, negative 1. Okay, I'm going to erase my work. Letter B, at the top, I just have 8 minus m. At the bottom, I have, again, it's going to be a difference of squares. I'm going to change that to 8 squared, because 8 times 8 is 64, and then I have m plus 8 and m minus 8. I'm not using this anymore, I rewrote it. Okay, but now at the top, they're the opposite. So again, we're going to take out a negative 1, and we're going to rewrite this as m minus 8. And now we can cancel these two, and we end up with negative 1 over m plus 8. And that's our answer here, negative 1 over m plus 8. Okay, the next one, again, I'll erase my work. Does this one have anything in common? It looks like they both have a 4, so I'm going to take a 4 out, and it's going to be 2 minus r. At the bottom, I need to factor using my x. So we have negative 8 and a positive 2. One's negative, one's positive. It's going to be a 4 and a 2. Do I need my box? I don't. So I have r minus 2 and r plus 4. Okay, do you recognize that there's an opposite here? If I take out a negative 1 here, I end up with r minus 2, which now these two can cancel, but negative 1 times 4 is negative 4 over r plus 4. And so that's my answer here, negative 4 over r plus 4. Okay, we have one more to do like this. Okay, and now again, look at the top. Is there anything that these two have in common? Looks like they have a 2. Looks like a c squared minus 1. At the bottom, looks like they have a 3, and it looks like we have a 1 minus c squared. Okay, again, they're opposites, so I'm going to go ahead and take out a negative 1. That changes this to c squared minus 1. So I no longer use this anymore, but now I can cancel these two. I keep that negative 1 and multiply it with the 3, so I have negative 2 over 3. And that's our answer for this one, negative 2 over 3. Okay, and then the last one, example for today, is that I'm going to ask you to do a couple word problems in your homework, so I want to go over this with you. It says the baking time for bread depends in part on its size and shape. A good approximation for the baking time in minutes of a cylinder loaf is 60 times the volume over the surface area, or 3 times the radius times the height over the radius plus the height, where the r is the radius and the length, h of the bread, I guess it's length and not height, of the loaf are in inches. Okay, so it's 30 times the radius times the height is equal to the radius plus the length. Anyways, that's the formula. Right here is the formula we're going to use. Didn't quite read that right. That's the formula we're going to use. It says find the baking time for a loaf that is 5 inches long and has a radius of 4 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the radius, find the baking time of a loaf that has 5 inches. So our h is 5, that's the length, and the radius is 4. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that those numbers and plug them in for our letters. So we've got 30 times 4 times 5 all over 4 plus 5. Okay, so I know the bottom is 9. I'm going to multiply 5 times 4 is 20. 20 times 30, well, there's 2 zeros, and it's a 600. So I have 600 at the top. Then I'm going to divide. So 9 will go into 600. Let's see, how about 5's too small, 6 is 54, 7 is 63, so it's going to be 56. We got 54. And then we've got, looks like another 6. We got 54 again. We're going to put a decimal in there. And again, we end up with a 60. So it looks like 6.666, and it says to do an estimation. So I'm going to make this approximation sign, and it's going to be approximately 67 minutes. Okay, so that's how you do that one. Just use the formula they gave you, and then plug in the information, your H and your R values they gave you. All right, so try this. You're going to do the odd problems on Monday, and then we're going to do the even problems on Tuesday. We'll be working on page 532 of your textbook, and we're going to do numbers 1 through 29 odd on Monday, and 2 through 30 even on Tuesday from page 532 of your textbook.